All right, welcome to my lecture, 5 Keys to Lose Weight. My name is Jerome. Let's get started. These are the subjects I'm going to cover in this video and the next videos. Low carb diet, I have seen people lose 9 kilos in the first month and then 1 kilo every month from there on in. In the beginning it's mostly fluids and then it's fat, but it's a healthy way of losing weight and it works for many people. Then the proteins. Proteins will make your metabolism go up and it will make you produce more muscle tissue, especially if you train a little bit in there. We're going to talk about training a little bit in the protein video as well. And well, that works brilliantly as well because you've never seen many people that are and very muscular and very fat at the same time. It's mostly one or the other. So muscle and fat are competing with each other. I will get into detail later. Thyroid, very, very, very difficult because the thyroid makes you sluggish, it makes you slow, it makes you not want to exercise or change your diet, and makes you not want to change anything in your life. So if the thyroid is the issue, start there and then gradually go to the other subjects. The microbiome, very difficult to change. This is something, it's more than just some probiotics, but it's very effective. They've put like poop transplants from people who are thin into people who are less thin, and they lose weight because of it. So that's very promising, but it's still very new. And finally, the estrogens and some other hormone as well, I'm going to talk about, because the estrogens can really throw a monkey wrench in the whole system. I've seen people do the low carb perfectly, the protein perfectly, and still they had such a disbalance in the estrogens, they could not lose weight, especially the weight around the legs and the buttocks. All right, this is going to be a lot of information if you're going to watch it all at once. So feel free to watch it in separate days. Feel free to skip a subject if you feel like, okay, I'm doing the low carb already and it's not working for me. Just go to the next one. It is so, I've made these videos in a sequence for the following reason. The first subjects are theoretically doable yourself. If you're watching this, not everybody wants to have me as a therapist or another therapist. Many people don't have the financial means, or they don't feel like it's necessary, or they just want to figure things out themselves, and that is perfect. So in that case, the low carb, you can probably still do a little bit yourself. You can definitely research that. The proteins you can probably do with the information I'm going to give you. Thyroid is going to be more difficult. Microbiome even more, and estrogens definitely something that's difficult to do by yourself. So always be careful, no matter what you decide to do, always be careful with what you do. Read up on these things. Don't start experimenting just haphazardly. That's very dangerous. But the first videos you can do by yourself. The last ones, just see if you can recognize yourself in it. If you're like, oh, guy is describing my problem specifically, then I would recommend really ask me for a consult, ask your own naturopath or wherever you are in the world, what is it called? Somebody who knows about these specific subjects to help you out. Okay. Very short about me. I studied physiotherapy in the beginning. Then I studied orthomolecular therapy, which is a different stream of nutritional advice. In general, dietitians don't do a lot with low carb. This is generalization in my country. We do a little more low carb. We do a little high protein, higher healthy fats, stuff like that. A little more with supplements as well. And that's about the difference, and the rest is just similar. And then I studied clinical Psycho-Neuro-Immunology, which is an amazing study which studies the biochemical connection between all the systems: psychological system, neurological system, the metabolic system, what we're going to talk about today, and how to up your metabolism so that you lose weight. We think that that is where the connection lies. This is where the key is, where the answers are to many chronic problems. I treat people with gut problems, with autoimmune diseases, usually come to me with both like losing weight, and they also want to like improve their rheumatic arthritis, their fibromyalgia, stuff like that. So this is what this study is all about. Very, very interesting, very promising, very good results, I do have to say. Okay, I personally do online consults via video calls, so it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can book a consult with me if you like me, and if you don't, please search for somebody who knows these subjects. I am Dutch. I teach Dutch therapists in my profession. I give lectures to people in companies. I also had a lot of personal experience with these things. I've had abdominal discomfort for years. I had irritable bowel. It's probably familiar for most people. I have the autoimmune disease. I had Hashimoto's, again, the thyroid. So I'm not unfamiliar with thyroid problems as well, what I'm going to talk about. And I've had many people, personal and professionally, around me who had a lot of problems with losing weight, including my mom, who after years of struggling, ever since she was a teenager, always weight, and dieting, and always struggling. And then she lost a little bit of kilos, and then she ate more, and then more than ever. And she ate sometimes like a third of what I eat. And then finally, in her 70s, she had diabetes or pre-diabetes, almost there, or actually she already had diabetes. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to do your guidelines now. And she lost 17 kilos in a year without even exercising. So, and no diabetes. So yeah, that's just one of the examples that's really close to me. But I've had many clients with similar results, and they say like, oh my God, I finally don't have to look at what I eat. I don't have to feel guilty. I can just like eat fats and things I like, and it's actually making me lose weight. It's just not sugars. And believe me, you will get rid of the sugar addiction in a short while. So that's good news. All right. Last disclaimer, if you have any other problems, like I said, many of my clients have other diseases, chronic problems, and then they also want to lose weight. Make sure you have a good diagnosis. Make sure it's not something serious. I am for chronic problems. Doctors are for acute problems more, so please go to the doctor first. And of course, this video is not personalized. What works for you does not have to work for somebody else, and vice versa. The problem on the internet, you read something, oh my God, this worked for me, you try it yourself and it doesn't work. That's why I have 5 videos, and probably not even enough, but these are the 5 major obstacles I see when people try to lose weight. All right, let's do low carb. Let's get this out of our system first. Do calories make you fat? Theoretically, yes, it's possible if you eat way too many calories compared to what you're burning off, and that can make you gain weight. It will mostly make you gain weight in your entire body, not specifically your belly, stuff like that, but it can make you gain weight, but not that fast as we think. This is because, well, look at the picture. 140 kilocalories of bananas, but it doesn't really do much to bananas in your weight. Believe me, I've done the studies and I've seen it in practice as well. Half an avocado is also 140 kilocalories, and it will not make you lose weight. You gotta eat a lot of those if you want to gain weight, like really gain weight. But same 140 kilocalories in a can of Coca-Cola, which is, well, about 10 tablespoons worth of refined sugars. So that's a lot. It's not just this can is this much. It will make you gain weight, even though it's the same amount of kilocalories. And then, of course, we have the lights and the zero products, which they don't lie. They has less sugar or even no sugar when it comes to zero, but they have other sweeteners in there because you still want it to taste and sweet, and still want you to like it. So the aspartame and all kinds of other sweeteners go into the brain. You get some kind of hormone release. I'm not going to get into it too much. It's like it has something to do with your hypothalamus and insulin, and it will release, and you will gain more weight than with the normal cola. So it's even worse, but they're not lying. Less sugar or zero, no sugar. It will make you gain weight incredibly fast. These things are like eating ice creams every day. You'll gain weight because of it. So don't focus too much on the calories, focus on the carbs. What are we made for? What is our design then? We have had millions of years of evolution. The world was here first, and then we came along, and then we evolved around certain foods that were already there. We evolved, and the past 10,000 years we've changed all that. Now, we have had a little bit of adaptation towards our newer food. I'm talking about the domesticated animals we eat. We're talking about the carbs, the grains, stuff like that. We have a little bit of adaptation. But especially the last 200 years, we've been adding all kinds of new things. The sugars, the even faster carbs, the starchy stuff, the sweeteners, and we are not built for that yet. So the answer is, have we adapted? A little bit, depending on who you are. Some people can handle low carb. So if you're for some reason watching this and you don't have a weight problem, I wouldn't skip too many fast carbs. You probably are used to it a little bit, but if you do have weight, there's probably a good chance that your genes are still made for lower carbs. Only exception that I can think of, if you have another disease or you're under enormous stress, it might be too much to cut the carbs all at once. So take it gradually, always be careful. But other than that, we're not made for this fast food, new stuff. New stuff is in everything. What is the problem? This is the only scientific thing I'm going to do in this video, like really get into it, but very shortly, so that you know, if you eat fast carbs, what is fast carbs? So bread, pasta, of course the refined sugars, the sodas, the potatoes, the French fries, sweet potatoes even, rice, all these things are fast carbs. And what does it mean? Take a potato, for instance. You have a boiled potato. This has a faster carb release than table sugar, faster. So you eat the boiled potato, it's really easy to digest. So all those like starchy things already digest really fast. It goes into your bloodstream, it's already there, and your body can't get rid of it anymore. It's already in your bloodstream, and it makes your blood sugar rise too fast, which is dangerous, which damages your inside of your arteries. This is where a part of the probably cardiovascular problems come from. But it's already there, body's alarm, it says to the pancreatic organ, go release some insulin, and it goes down again, thank God. But what does it happen to that sugar? You can't pee it out. You try a little bit, but you can't pee it all out. So the body does the only thing it can with it, and that is convert it into free fatty acids and triglycerides, which is fat, and then it stores it wherever it can. In your belly, between your organs, you get the belly. We do it, store it in our hearts. We get problems with that. We store it right here, just in the back of our throat, in a little thing, which automatically makes it fatter, and then we get this sleep apnea. This whole, because we lay down, it falls into our throat, and we get the sleep apnea problems. Not saying all sleep apnea problems are this, but 98% of people with sleep apnea have too much weight, and that happens fast. You don't even have to be really obese. You already get that very fast. We put it in our tendons. Gives more sensitivity towards carpal tunnel syndrome. So we store it wherever we can. The body is not used to this yet. It's like, okay, do something with it. And then, of course, your blood sugar drops again, and then you're hungry again, because that's an alarm signal as well. So you want to eat in an hour and a half again, which is completely unphysiological. We're supposed to eat 2 or 3 times a day. Well, I remember in my time when I didn't know all this stuff, I used to eat like 16 times a little snacky a day just to keep my energy up. This is what's going wrong with this. Now, you do this long enough, years and years pass by, and it goes up, 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 and then one morning they test your blood, and in the morning, sober, even when you didn't eat yet, your blood sugar will be too high by itself, and they will say, okay, you have type 2 diabetes, and you need more insulin to put it down again. So yeah, you can see how this creates a spiral you cannot easily get out of unless you cut these carbs. All right, now why is this not completely common knowledge around the world and everybody knows and everybody agrees with it? It has to do with, first, misunderstanding, and secondly, the money, unfortunately. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but yeah, money does, you know, make the world go around. So let's see what happened. This man, Angel Keys, 1950s, somewhere around the 1950s, he was the man when it came to like nutrition, and they asked him, what is causing this increase in cardiovascular diseases and heart attacks? And he looked at the heart attacks, he found like the plaque and the fats in there, the cholesterol in there. So his hypothesis was eating more fats will give you more risk at cardiovascular problems. Good, right? So he studied many countries, took him years, intensive studies, like 12 or 14 countries he took, and he found absolutely no correlation whatsoever. Some countries ate a lot of fats and nothing happened, and other countries versa, so it was no correlation. And then something happens that I'm afraid happens a lot in science, more than anybody would like to admit. He, pressure, reputation, took away all the countries that didn't support his hypothesis, and he was left with 7 countries, and then he published it and said, look, there's a correlation, we gotta stop eating fat. Yeah, this sometimes happens. There was already a lot of criticism very soon after that, but not fast enough, because then the food industry came and they were like, great, this is great news, because you know, fats and all that other stuff costs a lot of money to produce. Sugars do not cost a lot of money. It makes things taste great. People just want more and more and more, so they jumped on that and made a whole industry around it, like low fats, low this, low that, and like the cheese low fat, and everything low fat. And then they put a lot of carbs in there, and well, in a couple of years, these cardiovascular diseases really rise. But it was already too late, or it was already in there, I don't know. So, and this has been a very hard thing to get out of people's minds. Very hard. One last example, a country that, well, at that time didn't have the best connections with America, Japan, and they did not have an Angel Keys, and they did not take that into consideration, this whole idea of the fats is the problem. So let's look at these people. This is a sumo wrestler, so you know these people. Now, they are not born this way. They are trained, you want to call it that, to gain weight. And how do they do that? How do they stimulate this weight gain? They do it by eating rice. Just plain old rice, no fats in there to slow the carbs down, no proteins to slow the carbs even further down, no fibers, just plain white rice, and they eat it like 10 times, 12 times a day, whatever it takes, and they get these uprisings, and then they gain weight. What do they do when they're done with their career? They stop that and they start eating the fish, which contains the fats and the proteins, and they start losing the weight again. So just to see that what in one country is very logical, like, oh, that's common knowledge, you should stop eating calories. Another country's like, no, I don't know where you're getting that from, but nope. I've been seeing this all around the world. I've traveled a little bit, and many times this is the case. All right. What does it look like? Again, on the left, 2 plates. Don't forget the breakfast cereals. Don't forget of course, the candy. You can imagine that, but don't forget the sodas as well. These are the fast carbs, and they will make your blood sugar rise too fast and will make you gain weight. On the right side, there's the vegetables, no problem. There's the fruits. They're not on there, but fruits, also not that big of a problem. Yes, there's some sugar in there, but because there's also fibers in there, that's why you should keep these fruits just the way they are. Don't squeeze them too much, stuff like that. Or at least if you do, keep the fibers in there. It will slow the rate of digestion down. It will slow these fast carbs down. So fruits, maybe cut them if you're type 2 diabetes and you want to, really in the beginning, make sure you don't get them. And even that can be dangerous. So easy, step by step. But after that, nobody will gain that much weight by just eating fruits alone. It's always these carbs and then more, and then hidden sugars. Let's talk about that for a second. People, it is not the sugar you put in your coffee. A little sugar lump is 2 grams. And the average Dutch person alone eats 135 grams of refined sugars and sugar substitutes a day. 135, it's 2 grams. 135 is incredible. Where are these? These are hidden. Don't be fooled. If the second thing says sugar, it means the first thing on the product is what's in there the most, and the second most common thing in there is the sugar. For instance, a pack of pinda sauce. What do you call it? Satay sauce, pinda sauce. Great, right? Half a liter. Almost half of that is pure refined sugar. It's incredible that you don't taste it. Just look at the back, because it does say it in the numbers. It's incredible that you're not like, oh, this is way too sweet. But the other tastes, take it away, and then you're still like, oh, but this sauce is really good. Man, I want some more of that. This is the problem, the hidden stuff in there. It's still allowed to do that. Why is it still allowed? Things take time, money is involved. It took 30 years to get a little thing on the package of cigarettes, and that was pretty obvious that it was really bad for you. So these things take time before it goes away. And then also you of course have okay, no sugars, but we put something else in there. It's not proven yet that that is bad for you. Believe me, the farther you stray from nature, the worse it gets. What does it look like? A healthy meal. These are pictures from my good colleague. He has a lot of fruits in there, or a lot of vegetables in there, some fruits in there, some grapes I see, some blueberries as well. And there is olive oil in the back, and that is not an accident. Please pay attention. Please do not make the mistake of thinking that you should do only fruits and vegetables. If you do, because you're a vegan, which is great, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in the next video, but do be careful to get enough calories in there. Fruits and vegetables are great for you, but they're not very high energy foods. Put some olive oil in there, just see when you're still okay, this is still doable, this is a little bit too much, but you gotta enrich these foods. If you eat too little calories, your body will stop you from losing more energy, and it will stop the fat oxidation process. So you need more energy. You need energy to lose energy. You need fat to lose fat. It's not the fat itself that will make you gain weight. You need enough. If you're eating under your calorie line, and you can just put it in an app, and most people need 2,000, 2,500 kilocalories. You're not really sporting that much. If you're eating lower than that, your body will retain all its fat. This guy we just talked about, Uncle Keith, did some good studies. He also did some good studies after the World War, and he already saw, my God, if people don't eat for a while, too low calories, and then they start eating again, worse than ever. So be careful, eat enough, don't crash diet, don't diet all the time. Put those calories in there, you need it, or else your brain will override you at one point and say, go to the McDonald's, go eat something fatty right now, I cannot take this anymore. All right, last thing, Frequency of meals also important. I'm just going to put some little added things into little side subjects here. Intermittent fasting. You've already heard about it. Fasting, you know that fasting can be beneficial. Well, what is the idea? When does fasting work? First of all, it only works if you're eating enough calories. I'm just going to point this out once again. If you're already too low in your calories, more fasting will just make you lose more muscle tissue and not fat. It's more hunger. It's more survival mode for your body. He's just going to wait until it's like, oh my God, it's even worse now with the calories. We're just going to wait until this person eats a little bit and we're going to gain that weight so much. So please be careful, eat enough. And then it's healthy. Sometimes not eat too much on a day. Not a week, not 10 days of fasting, no crash diet, definitely no crash diet. 2 days a week, random days a week, you should skip breakfast and try to eat a little less that day than you normally would. What does it look like? You should actually stop eating at after 6, even a little bit earlier would be fine. Let's say 6, 7, let's make it doable for people. Okay, 6, 7 is the last meal you eat. Don't eat anything other than drink water the entire night. You sleep until the next morning, you skip breakfast, and then you wait until 12 or 1. Then you have 16 hours of no food in your system, and that triggers that program in our body to be like, okay, we got to burn off a little bit of fat and we got to up this detoxification. Well, yeah, it also does that in a different way than most people think. This is the health benefits you will get from fasting. Longer than that, way longer than that, doesn't really do that much. And shorter than that doesn't do anything either. Well, starting 12 hours, but 16 hours is the perfect time. Do it twice a week and you will have all the benefits and none of the downfalls. Okay, on to proteins. How proteins will make you saturated and how it will up your energy level and make you lose weight is as good as this. And please pay attention, especially all you vegans out there, which I completely respect. I'm gonna give you alternatives, but believe me, protein is important. Okay,